Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, everybody. It's Rod with Pow Group, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Tuesday, July 29th. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, we're going to take a look at MSOS. Popular request, getting a lot of people asking for an update on this one. So we'll take a look at the price action, the technicals, what to expect in terms of that in the days, weeks, months ahead. I'll give my thoughts and opinions. But as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. And spoiler alert, we could very well see 278 USD as the next target. We do have a bearish continuation pattern that's forming on the chart at the moment. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And I do own a very small position of MSOS in my portfolio. And you can follow us over on X as well, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So we'll take a look at MSOS. Obviously, Tilray earnings were weighing on the sector. I've already done multiple videos, the live stream, and also did a review video. Tons of people were saying it had a beat in terms of EPS, but you have to remember that they report in GAAP. So non-GAAP would factor in all of the impairments, the non-recurring charges, the one-time kind of anomalies. You can see here it was negative 130, and they were expecting negative 0.02. So that weighed on the sector. Pretty much everything was down today. Tilray, NEVI, MSOX, all down over double digits. But yeah, most names today were down around 7% on average. There was only a few outliers that were in the green: IIPR, Avicana, and Canara. And Canara actually had fantastic earnings, but as we know, they're a very small operator. But in terms of MSOS, we've just been seeing this kind of rotational play, right? Where a lot of the Canadian names are run and then they'll take a breather. And then the next day, the MSOs, the US names will run and then they'll take a breather. And then we'll see some leaders and laggards, right? Like an Oxley was really busting there for a while and it hit about 17 cents and it dropped down to 11 cents. And then, like I said, we're seeing kind of leaders and laggards for Canadian names. And then in the US name, some will run, they'll take a breather, let somebody else take the baton essentially, right? And right now, this bearish continuation pattern on MSOS, it's pretty much to be expected at this point, right? We don't really have much to look forward to right now. Even like one earnings report, right? Look at ACB. I'll just take a look at Aurora here real quick. The last time they reported their earnings, which was fantastic, by the way, was back here. It wasn't the last one. It was the one before that, actually. It was back in February. So they had a massive surprise and a massive beat in terms of EPS and revenue. But look what happened. It had a massive move, over 100% gain, and then gave the whole thing back. Why? It's because the whole sector is still bearish. And then today, like I said, Tilray earnings, they actually weren't that bad if you factor in the impairment, which was just a result of goodwill, which we said on this channel for a while now. Many months we've been talking about in the Pow Group private community that is very much going to be an issue going forward, and we shouldn't expect any major profitability until at least 2026, probably closer to 2027. And we have to be aware of more dilution for a lot of these MJ names, right? If you have debt and you're not yet profitable, dilution remains a concern. Although, debt for a lot of these companies are being paid down. In the US, though, this, MSOS, it tracks all the US major companies. You have to remember, and I think 80% of the fund is about 6 stocks. So you have to remember that a lot of these companies, even in the US, are very, very high in debt. And look at Cresco. It recently pulled out of the California market. Just, it's not a good look, right? A lot of these operators in the US are pulling out of, you can't win at home. That's a big red flag to me. And yeah, you just have to be very, very cautious with a lot of these names, folks. We could see rescheduling come fall, but I'm still a big believer that we're not going to see MJ see any meaningful upside until big tech, crypto, AI tops out. It's just not going to be in the eyes of the politicians right now in the US, right? Every second word out of their mouth is crypto, blockchain, AI. And I think after the fall, right after we get crypto legislation, we already got the Genius Act stablecoin signed into law. Now they're working on the Clarity Act, market structure, getting a lot of these ETFs approved. Once that's done and the anti-CBDC is done, then I think they're going to pivot over to cannabis. But as of right now, still expecting more downside across the sector. Pretty bearish closes across the board. You can see MSOS closing at the low of the day. If we just look at the daily time frame today, big red bearish candle. It was actually a bearish engulfing, so not good at all. Closing at the low, and we confirmed an hourly downtrend to end the day. and also confirmed an hourly bear flag. You can just take your fib tool here, go from the high to the low. You can see here was a weak bounce, topped out right at the 0.382 fib, and then you just take your measured move there from the high to the low, move it out to your 0.382, and there you got your measured move. Another confluence, bearish confluence indicator is that we could potentially see these EMAs cross bearish as well. So they're very good chance that they're not super close at the moment, but there's a good chance that it happens into tomorrow. Again, hourly downtrend, bear flag, and EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, and heading towards hourly oversold. Not a great look. And you have to remember too, when you're looking for a daily higher low, which we're consolidating now, so it's a higher low compared to this low here at 268. Generally, hourly oversold is a great entry. If you're looking for a weekly higher low, daily oversold is usually a great entry, right? So I think hourly oversold, if anybody's looking for a swing trade on this one, or if you're looking, again, I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or hold. This isn't financial advice, but if you're looking for an area to enter, hourly oversold should be a decent entry. And then look for those EMAs to cross bearish and see that bear flag target of 278 target reached. On the weekly time frame here, we're still bullish in terms of the stochastic and the MACD. We're still above the 10-week moving average. On the weekly time frame, we do have the 50 weekly there at 397, so we've got some runway if we can get over $3. We can see here those upper wicks showing lots of sell pressure here as well. And on the daily time frame, we got very, very close to our 200-day moving average, and here we are pulling back. So we could come back down to around our 50 and 100, which are at 250 and 255 respectively. And then we could see a golden cross. I would say it's going to be at least 2 or 3 weeks before we see the 50 and the 200-day moving average cross, which would be considered a golden cross. So again, I think the most likely scenario is that we come back down, back test these moving averages, see them tighten up, and then we get a golden cross and more momentum picking up after the summer. Typically, it's just what we see with cannabis stocks, right? It's usually a summer lull, a drop off in activity, and then towards the fall, we see that cyclical, that seasonality kind of time in the sector where it bodes well for the cannabis space, right? We usually see lots of states and votes for legalization, whether it be recreational or medical. We got Pennsylvania coming online. There's Delaware. There's Florida potentially going to make it legal at the recreational level here soon as well. We have banking. There's a very good chance that happens after crypto legislation. I think it's going to be sometime, probably I'd say sometime between the end of the year or early 2026. Definitely before the midterms, I think, in the US in 2026, they're going to want to get that done. Uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ. What else? Rescheduling. And really the only other catalyst, the way I see it is there's 4 major catalysts that are going to knock us out of this rut that we're in. Because it doesn't matter if you're a Canadian company, doesn't matter if you're American, LP, MSO, retailer, producer, ETF, profitable, unprofitable. Everything is down 80 to 90% and nothing is recovering until everything recovers simultaneously. And what's going to make everything recover is a sector-wide catalyst. And what are the catalysts that are going to make us do that? I would say it's either rescheduling, safer banking, uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, or excise tax reform in Canada. That's really the only 4 things I can see at the moment. Let me know if I'm missing anything or if you have any other thoughts and opinions. Yes, you're probably thinking, well, what if they deschedule it, right? That's another potential, but I don't think that's going to happen before the other 4, to be completely honest with you. I'd love to be wrong. I think ultimately that's where we end up, is we get full-blown descheduling, and that's what we need, and that's what I would advocate or tell anybody that, that's what should happen. But we have to call a spade and be realistic first and foremost. And like I said, I think it's the former 4 that have a better shot at getting past first. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on this. Like I said, we're probably going to see more downside. Tomorrow we're going to see a report on crypto, and it's more than likely going to dominate headlines. We're probably going to see crypto, blockchain, AI continue to dominate the headlines over the next couple months as it wraps up its multi-year bull market. And then I think we're going to see cannabis stocks really start to benefit from that rotational play and enter its prolonged multi-year bear market and potentially start a new multi-year bull market. All right, have a great night. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and we'll see you again on the next one.